Hello, everyone. It's great to see you all here. I am Mikołaj. I'm a software engineer in Software Mention.
Hi, my name is Igor. I'm software engineer at Software Mention too. Today, we would like to introduce you to React Native Enriched, a truly native rich text editor. If you think about any modern, popular messaging app, you will notice that almost all of them support some kind of a rich text styling. You can edit font weight, typeface, or even add custom elements like mentions or code blocks. And no matter if it is Facebook Messenger, WhatsApp, mailing app like a Gmail or iCloud Mail, or even X. Yes, that's a premium feature. And goal of React Native Enriched is to provide such capabilities into React Native ecosystem. But you may wonder, why do we need a new solution if this is such a common topic nowadays? Are there any ready-to-use libraries? Yes, they are. Are they good? It depends, but rather not. So let's take a look at examples. WebView. That's probably the most common and popular solution that you can use. Some examples: TentApp editor, React Native Rich editor, or custom solutions, so you can take a working web-based rich text editor, wrap it in React Native WebView, and you have something which just works fine in a native environment. But we've noticed that there are two major limitations coming with this approach. And first one is performance. So communication between WebView and your main app JavaScript is asynchronous. You send a message from the JavaScript side, you set up a listener on the JavaScript side which waits for a response coming from WebView, and this can create performance issues on lower-end devices. And the second limitation is everything that comes with layout. So keyboard handling, focusing input, creating pixel-perfect UI, it all becomes much more complicated comparing to native solutions.
Okay, but what else do we have there? Of course, there must be some native solutions. First of all, we have React Native Aztec. It's a pretty nice, complete solution, but unfortunately, it has recently been archived and moved to Gutenberg repository, and there's not much traffic around it. It just feels like it's not being actively maintained anymore. Apart from that, we also have Lexical. It is a solution for rich text editing made by Meta. There's a stable JS package and also a pre-release iOS package, but it's native only, meaning it's only on iOS. There's no like React Native layer there. So what are the problems with it? Firstly, there's no Android version. We have to create it on our own with the same like interfaces and API. And the other problem is we had some attempts at fixing some more glaring bugs and just making some custom stuff using the iOS package. And honestly, the code seems pretty difficult to work with, to say nicely.
Yeah, so as we already discussed possible solutions, let's take a look at our use case. So we are working on a filament, which is messaging app for professionals. Before creating React Native Enriched, we were using TentApp editor, which is a WebView-based solution. And we had two major issues. So performance, it was acceptable on iOS, but terrible on Android, and keyboard handling. Creating a UI where your input is at the bottom of the screen and you properly handle appearance and disappearance of a keyboard was complex. We were doing tons of workarounds and none of them work perfectly. So we've decided that we will create a fully native solution which will solve our issues and match our use case. And this is how we created React Native Enriched. So let's see how it works in general. React Native Enriched provides enriched text input, which is a fully native component. It's not a drop-in replacement for text input from React Native, but some of the props should look familiar to you. Styles can be applied by calling ref methods. Output of the library is HTML, so it includes not only text content, but also all of the information about styles, so you can process it or save it later. Toolbar with styles buttons is not part of the library. You have to build it on your own, but it gives you a lot of flexibility because you can create a perfect UI that matches your case. And what's more, most of the styles can be combined, meaning that you can apply many of them at once and they will just look and work fine.
Okay, so moving on to some example usage. Trust me or not, it's almost the shortest code I could think of to just showcase you what we can offer. So, okay, you can, I think, see it pretty much. So, we have, of course, enriched text input, so our component. We have some React ref that we connect to it right here, and we'll use it later. And there's a very important event called onChangeState. It's an event for lifestyles detection. So the object that is returned tells us pretty much which styles are currently active in the current selection. So we take that object and, of course, store it in some React state. And then below, there's a simple button. On press, we toggle a ref method that just toggles bold. So basically, you don't have to care about any selection problems or just indexes. You just toggle the bold, and the library does it for you within the current selection. And I've decided that the button will change colors depending whether the bold is currently active or not. So let's see it in action. So what? You can type some words. If we toggle the bold, of course, the word will be bold. You can also toggle it on just whole text selection, just like that. And notice that when we drag the selection now, we get a really nice feedback regarding the bold detection, and it brings you a truly native experience, we believe. So, now let's see how it's built. First of all, our component is uncontrolled. What does it mean? Let's first start with controlled component. For example, if you look at React Native text input, it is a controlled component. You can pass a value prop to it, which allows you to change the component's content externally, but it comes with a risk, because native and JS state may be out of sync. That results sometimes in lost text updates when typing quickly in the component. Our component, on the other hand, is uncontrolled, meaning that we can avoid this issue. Its state is managed only on the native side, and it changes in reaction to API usage and users' input. It's worth noting that we still support a default value prop. Okay, and the tech stack. We are using native components wrapped in React Native Fabric component. The Android side is written in Kotlin, just because it's easier to use it than Java. And the native component underneath is edit text. On the iOS, however, we are kind of forced to use Objective-C++ because currently React Native Fabric components interfaces are only made in Objective-C++. In the beginning, we were thinking of just using only the essential Objective-C++ code for communicating with React Native, and the rest we were thinking of bridging to Swift. But honestly, Objective-C++ grew on us, so you should give it a try. And the component underneath in Objective-C++ is UI text view, of course.
Yeah, so one of the cool features that we implemented is auto-growing mechanism. So it's pretty common case when you don't want to give your component fixed height. Instead, you would like to specify minimum height, maximum height, and allow your component to grow as user types. Creating such behavior with WebView-based solution is pretty difficult, if even possible, but in React Native Enriched is supported out of the box. We've managed to implement that by measuring component size on the native side, passing this value to custom shadow node, and this is how Yoga knows what's the desired component height. You may also wonder if we decided to use Nitro or XP modules. So short answer, no. We have to use custom shadow nodes. Also, we wanted to avoid any additional abstraction layer. Yeah, here you can see a list of base props that we support, and those props should be already familiar from component from React Native. We have autofocus, auto-capitalize, placeholder, selection color, editable, style, and a couple more. Yeah, and that's probably the most exciting part of the presentation, so supported styles. Styles in React Native Enriched can be split into 3 groups. First group, inline styles, because you can apply them to any part of the text that you want based on user selection. And we have bold, italics, underline, strike through, and inline code there. And in order to apply them, you call toggle bold or toggle italics, etc. method. Next group, paragraph styles. So we support 3 types of headings, block quote, code block, and both ordered and unordered lists. If it comes to lists, it's worth mentioning that we support 2 ways of applying those styles. So you can either apply them manually by calling a ref method, but they are also automatically created when we match a proper typing. So when user enters one dot space at the beginning of the line, we will automatically create ordered list item, and if user enters dash space at the beginning of the line, we will automatically create an ordered list item. And the last group of supported styles are styles which require some parameters in order to work properly. So here we have links. They can be both applied manually or they can be applied automatically when we detect a valid URL. We have mentions. And if you think about Slack, for example, they support both mentioning user and the channel. And in React Native Enriched, you can specify as many types of mentions you want. It's enough to pass a mention indicator, which is basically a first character of that mention. Also, we support applying custom attributes, meaning that when you set up a mention, you can pass an object with as many attributes as you want. And later, those attributes will be accessible in the HTML, so you can easily assign, for example, channel ID. And inline images, so you can insert any image you want just inside the text, and you don't have to use any additional component composition.
Okay, next up, React Native Enriched allows you to customize the mention styles to some degree using a pretty simple config. And there are some cool things like ordered and unordered lists have markers, so there's like 1, 2 numbers and the dots. They can be changed with font weight, they can have different colors, sizes. We can have customized block quotes, so that rectangle you see in there can have different actually dimensions, colors, also font color can be different. We have headings with custom sizes, and they can be bolded by default or not. And the most cool one, the mentions that Igor just mentioned. Each different type of mention, so for example, a user mention or channel mention, they can have like completely different styling config. So we can change the background, foreground color, and underline properties as well. And there's more, of course. Next, we have events. And we have actually a lot of events that let you really customize the behavior with the enriched text input to, let's say, hit your goal. So, first of all, there are text, HTML, and selection change events. These are dispatched every time text changes in the input, HTML changes away, because you can also just toggle the style without changing the text. And, of course, selection changes if you need it. There is live styles detection, so just as we've seen on the example usage. There are some events regarding the inputs focus and blur. And now, first, we have link-related events, and they let you create some really nice and custom link editors. And I'm just going to show you the one we have in our example app. So yeah, you can, using these events, I just create a link, set it at some place, and now I can just press it again and, for example, edit only the text of the link. and keeping the URL as it was. And lastly, we have quite a few mention-related events that let you really control each stage of mention addition. We have firstly an event that gets emitted when user types some mention indicator, stating that you should probably maybe open some UI to start editing the mention. You get an event during the edition that the user, for example, deleted or added some new characters to the mention, so we can, I don't know, maybe change some queries in your UI. And you even get an event when user decides to stop editing a mention without finishing it. So we also have some mention editor in our example app. And let's see how it works. So yeah, we're typing some more characters, and our search query is then just narrowed down. And after selecting, there's also a method to just set a mention as it is. OK. But as it is with all freshly created libraries, there are some limitations to it. Firstly, HTML is our format of choice, meaning there's no out-of-the-box Markdown support, because a lot of people already asked for it, both on X and on GitHub. However, the formats can be converted. You just have to do it on your own. We do not support nested lists yet. OK, the library is generally rather oriented around short text than some documents. We just haven't really tested performance on the longer documents as of now. And there is still no component for displaying the rich text with our format and configs. But Igor is going to talk a bit about it soon. And believe us, it's high on our priority list.
Yeah, so let's see how future of React Native Enriched looks. Our main goal is to be up to date with most recent React Native versions. Last week we've added support for React Native 82, meaning that right now we support latest 4 versions. Code blocks and inline images. As for now, they are implemented only on Android, so we plan to implement it on iOS too. Enriched text, which will be a fully native component used just for displaying output of the enriched text input. Right now, if you want to use this output, you have to use some third-party library like React Native Render HTML, but we believe that with built-in component, the development will be much easier. And web support to satisfy universal apps, which are more and more popular. Yeah, so to sum up, React Native Enriched has been released a couple of weeks ago. Our client, Filament, who sponsored this project, is already using it in production. But we understand that rich text editing is a complex topic. There are so many different apps and so many different ways of handling styles, so it may not fit perfectly for every use case. But feel free to check it out, let us know how it works, and if you need help with building your perfect rich text editor, we at Software Mention are always happy to help. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, by the amount of text on the slides, you can probably tell they like to text edit. I believe we have some time for a QA session. Are you open to QA session? Or?
Yes.
Why not?
Okay. Are there any questions maybe to those guys? At the end, last row, text editor boys.
Hello, great presentation. I just have a question, because you mentioned that this component is uncontrolled. I also not seen any value or default value on a props. So is there a way to set some default value in this component? Like say I start something on my API and now I want to display it in that component. Is that possible? If not, are there any plans to support it?
Yes, so we provide default value prop that you can use. Also, you can set a value imperatively by calling a setValue method on a ref. But we do not support a standard value prop like you know from the React Native text input, because we wanted to avoid this misconfiguration between native and JavaScript state, especially that we have to process the text to HTML. So yeah, we wanted to avoid this case.
Okay, thanks.
We can afford maybe one more question. Nothing? 3, 2, 1. Okay. Please.